Thank you for joining us for this webinar, Practical Substance Abuse Prevention with Single Session Wellness Programs. And I just want to let you know I am recording this session, and if it works out, then I'll make the recording available as well. So let's go ahead and jump right into the topic. There are three objectives that I have for this webinar. The first is for those of you that are on with us to be able to describe the features that differentiate the Practical Prevention Plus Wellness programs from other common marijuana, alcohol, tobacco, and drug abuse prevention programs. In addition, you should be able to list the program, training, and material options that we offer at Prevention Plus Wellness. And lastly, I'm hoping that you'll be able to explain, if you stay with us through the entire webinar, explain the key components, the outcomes or effects, and uses of the evidence-based sport and InShape Prevention Plus Wellness program. So we'll sort of start broadly and talk about our offerings, and then we'll hone in a little bit more on these two evidence-based programs, Sport Prevention Plus Wellness for youth and InShape Prevention Plus Wellness for college-age young adults. So first thing that I wanted to talk about was to be able to understand how the programs that we offer at Prevention Plus Wellness differ from other prevention and even other health promotion types of programs, because they are quite unique in their makeup. So first of all Prevention Plus Wellness programs are really motivational more so than informational. That's not to say that there isn't some information that's being imparted, because certainly they are. One of the key bits of information or education is that young people that participate can learn about the relationships and the interaction between risk behaviors, specifically substance use habits, and how those can interfere with engaging in healthy habits, and how healthy habits can help actually prevent risk behaviors. So motivation is the key. So it's more motivational than, I would say, educational. Number two, Prevention Plus Wellness programs are tailored rather than being generic. In other words, they are actually tailored specific to individuals, particularly if to individuals based on how they responded in the screening survey. But even if you implement them in a group setting, they're tailored because individuals get a chance to think about their own current health habits and then develop a goal plan that's specific to their needs. Number three, lengthy. In fact, our evidence-based sport and InShape programs are just a single session. That's how they were developed, and they have been proven by rigorous research to be very effective in preventing substance use while at the same time increasing wellness and fitness behaviors. And some of these effects even lasted a year after that initial single session intervention. Number four, Prevention Plus Wellness programs are scripted and not ambiguous. So our programs are best described as screening and brief intervention. However, unlike some screening and brief interventions, like say motivational interviewing, which is an open-ended counseling type of an approach, our approaches are scripted, so it's a little bit easier for individuals to use them regardless of their training. And by having them scripted, you increase program implementation fidelity. Number five, all of our programs are multi-health rather than single health. So typical prevention programs, it's not uncommon for them to focus on a specific substance use or health issue, whether that be tobacco or alcohol or marijuana or prescription drugs. And in fact, our programs address substance use in general and specific substance use habits and other concrete wellness behaviors like physical activity, participating in sports, eating healthy, getting adequate sleep, and controlling stress. And then lastly, Prevention Plus Wellness programs are just that. They're integrated programs. So they address prevention as it relates to wellness and vice versa, rather than either addressing prevention of risk behaviors or wellness or promotion of healthy habits. In addition, all PPW programs, that is Prevention Plus Wellness programs, emphasize positive rather than negative content, which, according to research, is more receptive to young people and also has potential for more powerful effects. Number 8, it's image-based rather than risk-based. So the images, in fact, are appealing images, positive images, images of peers and of themselves in a future engaged in the wellness behaviors. That is, viewing themselves as engaging in healthy eating, sleep, and physical activity, and then benefiting from that, rather than focusing on risks. And when we do address risks in our programs, they're usually focused on more immediate risks, which are those kinds of messages are more effective for young people. Number 9, our programs are dual, not single implementation options. So you could implement all of our programs either one-on-one as they were originally developed, and there's also a script or protocol in all of our programs to implement them in a group setting. Number 10, our programs are inclusive, not piecemeal. That is, everything you need is ordered all at once. So you order your manual, it comes with downloads and PowerPoints and reproducible downloads, and everything is there. You don't have to continue to buy, let's say, materials for students or teachers or anything. It's the materials, and if you want training, you can order that separately. Although there are some training videos that are included as well. Number 11, again, screening and brief intervention is what all of our programs are. They're not complicated or intensive, or they're not long, and they're not complex that require complex types of training because the skills are so difficult. In fact, they're really meant to be very brief, very powerful screening and brief interventions, and I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes. And then lastly, our programs are either evidence-based or evidence-informed, and versus not proven whatsoever. In other words, based on a hunch or personal or clinical experience. In fact, the two programs we'll focus on primarily today, the Sport Prevention Plus Wellness Program and InShape Prevention Plus Wellness Program, both are considered quote-unquote evidence-based. They're both developed with research funding from the National Institutes of Health, and they're both listed on a number of evidence-based databases, including SAMHSA's National Registry of Evidence-Based Programs and Practices, or NREP, Blueprints for Healthy Youth Development, Clearinghouse for Military Family Readiness, as well as the Washington State Institute for Public Policy, which I think does a great job of identifying prevention programs and marijuana prevention programs. And so they do a really good job if you haven't seen that database. And then Sport is also on some other evidence-based databases. Now, there are two theories that underline all Prevention Plus Wellness programs. There's a conceptual or theoretical framework, which is called the Behavior Image Model, BIM. And then there's a practice or application framework, which is referred to the SFGF model. So there's two theories, a conceptual model and a practice or application model. Let me describe both for you. The conceptual framework, the behavior image model, the BIM model, that's a theoretical roadmap for developing brief programs that connect wellness promotion, wellness, fitness, health promotion with substance abuse prevention, avoidance, and reduction. So there's two components to the BIM, the behavior image model. The first component is the use of positive images, appealing images, that we believe and have been shown to increase motivation for change. So the positive images have support from theoretical models and has and practical support from decades of use in marketing and advertising. So marketers and advertisers, whether they're selling alcohol or cigarettes or clothing or cars, will use positive, not negative images. They'll use appealing, good-looking images that are appeal to us and characteristics that we wish to think of ourselves as having in the future. So by triggering those positive images, those appealing images of ourselves in the future, desired images, if you will, or of our peers engaged in those wellness behaviors, that is a very, very powerful natural tool for increasing motivation for change. And then the second part of the behavior image model is the action piece. That's where we ask all participants to complete a multiple behavior goal setting exercise. That is to choose to avoid or reduce the substance use behaviors and to increase one or more wellness behaviors. And this piece, this goal setting, is designed to increase self-control or self-regulation skills. So two components to the theoretical or conceptual model, the behavior image model. And then there's this practice or application model, which is, again, as I mentioned, is a screening and brief intervention model. And this particular framework that we developed is called SFGF, which stands for screen, feedback, goal setting, and then follow-up. And so you can see this is really the four-step model. First of all of our programs screen participants for their current health habits, and secondly, you provide feedback and wellness image communication. Usually this involves providing some vivid trigger words and some images representative of your population by the use of PowerPoint slides. And then thirdly, there's that goal setting, which I talked about, to set multiple goals, both to avoid substance use, risky behaviors, as well as to engage in wellness habits. And then lastly, to circle back and to provide follow-up. That follow-up could be, as soon as the following week, or could be within a year, whatever the case. And some of our programs do have follow-up materials and strategies. So let's take a look at the programs that we provide at Prevention Plus Wellness, LLC. In the left-hand column are the evidence-based programs. These are research developed. We have conducted rigorous research, collected data, published that, and have been able to show through refereed scientific articles that these programs, particularly the Sport Prevention Plus Wellness program and the InShape Prevention Plus Wellness program, both of those have been successful in preventing or reducing substance use like alcohol and tobacco, I should say alcohol and marijuana, and then also sport tobacco, while at the same time increasing healthy habits, including physical activity and maybe even some other wellness and fitness behaviors. And then there are on the right-hand column what I call the evidence-informed programs, those that are actual adaptations of our evidence-based programs. So they have still a strong theoretical component. They have a practice component based on evidence-based programs, but we don't have the data evaluating them at this point. There's a Sport 2 program. Unlike Sport, which is a single session program, Sport 2 gives you 6 additional lessons, and we developed that for those organizations that want more content. And by the way, currently we're developing a Sport 2 version for children. Just like we have a Sport 3 version for children. So there's 3 versions of Sport. There's 2 versions at this time of Sport 2. And then there's our In God's Image, a 3-lesson program, which links physical and spiritual health for faith-based settings. We also provide online and on-site training for those that want to receive the 3-year certification to be either an implementer of our program or a trainer to train others to be implementers. We also have a training for youth leadership, so we actually train young people to implement our evidence-based programs with typically their younger peers. So, for example, in Chico, California, we've had a multi-year program where we've been training, I think, juniors and seniors in high school settings to implement the sport program to their younger freshmen peers. But sometimes it's organizations use different arrangements for this. Sometimes they'll train college student peers to implement it to their college peers. Sometimes we'll have high school kids trained to implement the middle school version to the middle school kids and so forth. But it's a great opportunity for developing leadership skills and being exposed to evidence-based prevention and health programming. And then we also have training for parent leaders. So there's no reason not to be trained because we have on-site and online, live online training. So it makes it more efficient and cost-effective. We also have, more recently, focused on our marijuana awareness materials and programs. We have a marijuana awareness school and community media campaign. That's actually number 2. I skipped down to that, which gives you lots of ready-to-use materials for addressing the myths, misconceptions, inaccuracies about marijuana. The focus is on content, and you get all kinds of screening surveys, and PowerPoint slides, and blogs, and there's just a ton of material there that you can use in your school, in your community, to address this, this quickly growing area of marijuana use, both medical and recreational, throughout the country and, in fact, throughout the world. Go back to number 1. We do have a marijuana awareness training. We have it both on a customized basis, so in other words, we could tailor it. And then number 3, we have a recorded complete marijuana training for teachers as well. And then lastly, number 4, we have a number of quizzes and slide programs you can use in your schools and communities to address just general marijuana awareness. Number 2, youth cannabis use and risks, and a very important one dealing with marijuana media literacy. We also have some good stuff for parents and recovery professionals. So under the parents list, we have a parent pep talk program, which comes in 7 lessons, and we provide that both to professionals to implement in their communities as well as directly to parents themselves. We have parent, I should say, teen or home contracts, of which there are 5, to help increase communication and teach young people about behavioral guidelines. Number 3, we have a book titled Parenting Strategies for Creating Drug-Free and Healthy Youth, and we have In God's Image in a book format. Under the heading of recovery, we have the Sport Recovery Program, a single session recovery program designed for youth in recovery or treatment programs. It's an adaptation of the sport program, but for youth in treatment or recovery. And we have a PPW adult recovery program, which is sort of a spin-off of InShape, but for adults in recovery or treatment, so that we could integrate that wellness component, so important, not just to prevention, but also to recovery. And then lastly, we have a book on wellness for adults in recovery, Creating Wellness for Life. Now, there are some similarities. We'll just turn our focus now to Sport and InShape, our 2 evidence-based programs. There's a number of similarities between the Sport program and the InShape program. They're both single-session screening and brief intervention programs. They are developed with funding from the National Institutes of Health. They're evidence-based, as I said, for example, being on the National Registry of Evidence-Based Programs and Practices and other evidence-based databases. They're both implemented either one-on-one or in a group setting because those scripts or protocols are included in your program materials. They both promote fitness and health habit increases at the same time substance abuse avoidance. And they can be used either alone as a standalone program or with other interventions. And they can be repeated over time, and they are inclusive in terms of the program materials. You don't need other materials. Now, there are three important differences between Sport and InShape. Sport comes in three versions, as I mentioned earlier: older adolescents, young adolescents, and children. Whereas InShape is specifically for college students or young adults. And then lastly, Sport includes some optional parent flyers, which can be mailed out, sent out, handed out, emailed, put on your website, and then some parent youth web-based resources that are specifically selected for a group for the parents and a group for the kids, and they're organized by the target behaviors in sport, which is sports and physical activity, web resources, healthy eating web resources, those related to sleep, stress management, and then lastly, substance use resources. When you, if you were to order, or if you have, you know this already, that the Sport and InShape programs comes in a manual, and it includes directions and tips for implementation. It includes the self-administered screening survey to assess current health habits, a one-on-one and a group script or protocol to implement it either way, PowerPoint slides, multiple health behavior goal plan, both process and outcome tools that allow you to do an immediate pre-post test as well as a long-term follow-up. The manual, there's a sample of the manual, and you have the digital downloads that allow you to make as many copies as you want to implement it to as many young people as you so desire. It's just that every implementer or teacher needs to have their own manual because the scripts are in the manual. And then there are some recorded webinars that help with training. Now, what are the outcomes? What does the research show in terms of the effectiveness of sport? This is a very brief overview from the research we've conducted, and it shows that the sport single session program influences both substance use and wellness habits of youth, both young, I should say, and older adolescents. Number two, sport prevents and reduces substance use and substance use problems and increases physical activity, with some of the effects amazingly lasting up to a year, and that's with this very brief and powerful single session program. Number three, the sport flyers, which we conducted an evaluation of, just alone, which are found in your sport program, have been effective in influencing substance use among adolescents. We've also conducted, number four, a trial evaluation of sport that was translated into Turkish language, and that was found to impact multiple health behaviors of young people in this very different culture, indicating I think the very powerful and transferable effects of sport in multiple cultures and languages. The effect sizes, by the way, we had found larger for substance using youth. So some organizations use sport as a primary prevention. Some use it with higher risk kids that may have been identified as having behavioral problems or substance use problems. And lastly, adaptations of sport have been shown to influence other health habits, other wellness behaviors like eating, sleep, and stress control. The outcomes for InShape, based on research, has shown that the single lesson InShape program influences both substance use and multiple wellness habits of young people, with some effects up to a year later. InShape improves various types of health-related quality of life. And lastly, number three, InShape has potential to be implemented effectively in a self-administered computer-based intervention. Now, one last slide on the program effects based on research. The left-hand column shows sport, and you can see that sport's been shown to reduce the initiation, quantity, and frequency of alcohol use, reduce binge drinking, reduce the initiation and cigarettes and smoking of cigarettes, reduce the initiation and use of marijuana, increase physical activity, increase parent-youth communication, and increase other health habits and goal setting. Whereas on the right-hand column, InShape has been shown to reduce the frequency and heavy use of alcohol use, reduced drinking and driving, reduced the initiation quantity and heavy use of marijuana, increased hours of sleep, exercise and healthy eating, improved body image satisfaction, and improved health-related quality of life. Very many very positive effects, and those aren't all of them either, from these evidence-based, cost-effective sport and InShape programs. Here are some settings that that sport and InShape are being used at throughout the country, all 50 states and in some other countries. So they're being implemented in K-12 schools like health, PE, science, citizenship, study periods, and other settings within school, after school, in lieu of school suspension for specific subgroups, populations like student athletes in colleges and universities, in sports and recreation leagues, youth leadership opportunities, which I mentioned earlier, youth and family organizations like Boys and Girls Clubs, YMCA, and others, summer and enrichment camps, homes, directly into homes, our programs are being implemented, faith-based settings, hospitals and health clinics, juvenile justice settings, substance use recovery and treatment organizations, and substance abuse coalitions and mental health agencies, anywhere where there's young people. And here's just a couple of quotes from some of the people that have used our programs in the past. Wilma from Washington talks about how it's opened up deeper discussion with her young people at a YMCA Young Leaders Group. Barry from Michigan talks about how sport is a whole body experience for young people and focuses on improvements in their lives rather than just specifically on drugs alone. Here's a rather lengthy comment from Christiana in Indiana talking about the InShape program and that there's not a lot of programs for this demographic, and that they're very pleased with the program and also our customer service. And that's the thing. We are available, I should say I'm available in particular, after you've ordered your program for any questions and comments, and by phone or email and so on. I'm available to do whatever I can to have you have a successful experience and have your young people and parents and others enjoy the program. And here's another final comment from Monica in Texas, that we do put a lot of stuff on our website. A lot of it is great resources, a lot is free, so I certainly encourage you to go to our website regularly and sign up for our free weekly email blast. So you can get more information on our practical evidence-based substance prevention and wellness programs and training materials at preventionpluswellness.com. You can call us here in Jacksonville, Florida, throughout the day and most of the evening, 904-472-5022. You can email us as well at info@preventionpluswellness.com. So I think that's it for the slide. So I'm going to just at this point, it's a little over half an hour. I'm going to open it up at this point for any questions anybody might have about anything I've presented. So it's a good opportunity for us to drill down a little bit on some things that you might be interested in or wondering about our program. Again, you could find out more at our website, preventionpluswellness.com. But at this point, I'm open for anybody that has any questions. All you have to do is type in your question or your comment in the live chat window at the bottom of this last screen. And in fact, you know what? Let's do this. I'm sorry, I sort of jumped ahead. I had one other poll I wanted to open and have you look at, because I think this is important. I really would love to know what everyone's interested in. So you'll have to scroll down because this is a long list, and you could check off any of these that you want. So the question is, which of the following are you interested in learning more about? And you could list them all. So you're going to need to scroll down all the way down because there's a rather long list. Just check off any of those that you're interested in, and there's an other. So if you check other, you can go to the second question and you could type in anything. So please take a moment right now and let us know what you'd like to know more about. I can start giving you some more information as we speak, as I get these results from you. I see there's some people interested in learn a little bit more about youth leadership workshops, um, as well as a little more about sports, Sport 2, in God's Image, the Certified Implementer Workshop, Marijuana Awareness Campaign, the Teen Home Behavior Contracts. Of course, all of this information is on our website at preventionpluswellness.com, and you could learn a lot more about it. But let me go ahead and say that we covered the sport prevention plus wellness program, so I don't know what else you'd like to know about that. I will say that the Sport 2 program is, as I mentioned earlier, is 6 lessons. So, and specifically, it focuses on particular behaviors, whereas sport is a single session that links physical activity and sports participation and healthy eating and sleep and controlling stress and avoiding substance use all in one lesson. Sport 2 breaks it out, there are 3 separate lessons dealing with different types of physical activity. There's a lesson on healthy eating behaviors that goes into more depth of different types of healthy eating habits, and one on controlling weight and calories, and another on, I think, stress control. And all of those, again, screening, current health habits, feedback, triggering those positive images of young people engaged in those healthy behaviors, showing how the substance use behaviors interfere with those positive outcomes and developing a positive self-identity, and then multiple behavior goal setting. So there's more content in Sport 2. It's evidence-informed. It's not evidence-based like the sport program, but it's based on the sport program, and it's for those organizations that want this, want their youth to receive more content and engage them in more sessions. In God's Image is great for, churches and synagogues and other types of settings where you want to address physical and mental health promotion, but also link it to spiritual development. So there's there's, as the name implies, there's a God focus, and again, same format. You got 3 lessons. On 2, I think, deal specifically with physical and mental health development, and the third on spiritual. But those things are all intertwined in all 3 of those lessons on in God's Image. And so we developed that because we were asked by some churches to develop that type of a program. Our certified program implementer workshops can be as brief as 2 hours online, where we'll go through a particular program for you. We'll walk you through it. We'll introduce you to it. You'll be able to experience it firsthand by role-playing a young person, and I'll implement it to you. And then we could discuss tailoring the program to your specific needs, and that comes with a 3-year certification. And by the way, we can also provide that training, both implementer and trainer training on site as well. Normally what happens is there's, an organization or a region has a group of people, and so the only other cost there is for my travel. Youth leadership workshops we focus on young people, at least a couple young people with at least 1 adult, and we train them as a team, and with the intent that the young people are going to go out under the supervision of this adult to implement this program, again, either one-on-one or in a group setting, to their typically younger peers. So it's a great leadership experience and a great opportunity to learn about evidence-based prevention and wellness. and they can learn a great deal about communication and leadership and evaluation and communication and so forth. Moving right down your list here, the marijuana awareness media campaign. There's actually a sample of this in all of our programs, by the way, on our website under, I think, resources. There's a sample, so you can click on it. You can see a sample of all the materials. There's just a ton of stuff that are ready to use. And in fact, we had an email blast today which showed one organization in, I think, South or Central Florida that have taken our marijuana awareness school and community media campaign and are tailoring it a little bit more to their target population, which are adults. I think they're looking at in particular, and they're using the blogs and they're using the quizzes and the PowerPoint slides and all the materials that come with that, banners and posters and things, and all of that they're using to, again, address myths and misconceptions that are common among adults and teens and young people in communities related to marijuana. And so all of the materials in this campaign can be tailored. You're welcome to change out images, edit them, as this particular group did that we discussed in our email, which is posted in our news item. So you can read all about that. I think it's was something about tailoring a marijuana media campaign, and that you could read about that on our in our news items, which is down to the right side of our homepage. The teen health behavior contracts, there are 5 of those. They focus on specific behaviors. They're described on our website, and that's for parents that are having some difficulties communicating with their kids, and they want a tool, and this works very well in that regard to increase communication clarity, to show young people, at home what the parents' or guardians' expectations are, and to identify specific, um, you know, uh, rewards and punishments associated with those particular behaviors. And some of those contracts are about driving, and some are about substance use, and some are about home rules, and so forth. So it's very good tools. The Prevention Plus Wellness programs in book format are just an opportunity to, I think, some organizations, some individuals, some parents, some teachers wanted the book, so you could hand out the books, and you could use the book, like, say, in God's Image book, or the parent parenting tools book, or the wellness book in recovery. A great tools to hand out to your youth or to your participants, your groups, and you can work through these wellness and prevention and other issues using the book as the tool. And the books are available through our website, and they're on Amazon, and you can also order them even cheaper on the Kindle version. And lastly, Prevention Plus Wellness in video format. So we've been exploring this. Just recently, we put a couple of brief videos on our website under a new heading of videos. And so we're going to continue, I think, to develop videos that can supplement our programs. We have an introductory video for sport. We have a video that can be used in our programs to help instruct your youth and young adults that are being implemented in Prevention Plus Wellness programs, particularly the goal setting, the multiple behavior goal setting. We have a new one we just loaded, I think, yesterday, that addresses the role of parents and parent communication. And so we're open to know what other kinds of video-based programs you'd like. And we may actually put our programs entirely in video format as an option, but we need to have feedback as to whether that's something of interest to some of you. So that's it. I don't see any questions in the live chat. Is that live chat working? Somebody just send me a little note in the bottom of the live chat and make sure that I can see it's working. The last live chat was from Dawn, who said good morning. Okay, so Jennifer's writing something, so it works. Any other questions I could help anybody with? If you want lots of information, including samples of all of our programs, videos, lots of content, preventionpluswellness.com. And if you get a question later, and you want to shoot me an email, just send it to info@preventionpluswellness.com. Again, you could call. Here's our phone number again. You can call anytime, 904-472-5022, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about our programs, our training, our materials, um, how they work, how effective they are, how you could use them, how you could tailor them with your target population. And that's it. I'm all out of words. So and for a retired professor, that's an amazing thing. So it's 45 minutes into the training. Well, actually, we have a couple more minutes, but I don't have anything else. I don't see any other questions, so I want to just one more time thank you for joining us. God bless you for what you do. Continue the good work that you do to help young people and adults to protect their health and to develop them into the people, the best versions of themselves. I think that's wonderful. You guys are great. I appreciate it. Thank you. Have a great day. Again, thanks for joining us.